Hi there, and welcome to GenX Zero Build Fortnite, where I'll show you how I adapt strategies the pros use for people without elite hand-eye coordination. In this episode, as a 53-year-old man who owned a home Pong machine when I was a kid in the late 70s, I somehow beat a bunch of youngins and won 3 straight Fortnite games, despite never having won 2 in a row over the 9 months I've been playing. The 25.11 content release that came out on Tuesday, June 27th, vaulted the heavy sniper rifle and added the explosive repeater rifle shown here. After playing around with it for a few days and watching some pros give their thoughts, I started using it as a complement to the pump shotgun in short-range fights, replacing a conventional spray weapon. That is, when I can find it, as you'll see in some of this gameplay. Here's the match stats for the first game in the sequence, which I didn't record because I certainly didn't think the last game I was playing before bedtime on Tuesday night was going to set off this sequence of events where I'd win 3 in a row. But this one has the most eliminations of the 3 games in the sequence. And I won this one by popping a slurp juice late and hanging out in the storm while I waited for the zone to shift, and my opponent ended up taking fall damage in the snow area, and I ended up getting the win based on that. Both of the second 2 games had a similar pattern to them, where I started in this building here. It's got decent loot. Sometimes it's got 2 coolers so you can buff up your beginning health. You can usually get a full complement of weapons that you're looking for. And then it's got a launch pad, which I've lately been taking to go into the jungle, find a raptor, and then try to third-party people until the cache comes around. At that point, I try to improve both my weapons and my healing from what's available in the cache. And then it's really about playing zone, trying to get high ground as the zone shifts around late game. I'm going to snap forward here so you don't have to watch me loot, and you can see what my initial loadout is when I hit the launch pad. So you can see here I've got a green repeater rifle in the spot that I would normally have in my inventory for a spray weapon. I've got a blue shotgun. I found some shockwave grenades. I just upgraded my MK rifle. And I've got some slurp juice for some quick heals if I need it. So at this point, I'm going to go over to the jungle. I'm going to try to find a raptor, so I've got some mobility and some extra overshield that it provides. And I'm going to try to third-party people, look at the small vaults, and wait for the cache to spawn, where I'll try to upgrade a little bit more. Snap forward here after not a whole lot happens after I find the raptor. And I'm going to go and see if I can upgrade a little bit in this small vault. I choose incorrectly in Rift, and now I've got a Rift I can use if I need to. And right as I'm coming down here, someone else is sliding down this chain, and I get in a protracted fight with them. Turns out there's 2 people here. This guy goes for my raptor, which is one of the other reasons I like to have it. It's because people get confused by it. I'm probably using the repeater rifle a little bit too much here. I switch back to the shotgun and take out the first guy. I'm able to get cover while taking fire from the second guy. I'm going to heal up here just a little bit. And then as he approaches, I'm going to try to get height on him and pop up on this rock. I switch back. I'm unable to get on the rock. I slip off. I've got a reload problem here. And really, I kind of have no business winning this fight. But because the repeater rifle I hit with the explosion, that gives you both the initial damage from the bullet hitting the person and the explosion after, and I get my first 2 eliminations in this sequence. Still the same basic loot though. I've got 1 key. I can go try to find some other things. And you can see while that fight was going on, the cache spawned. So I'm going to see what's in here to see if I can upgrade anything. I've got a healing item here that I can help myself with. We'll load up on ammo. And after healing, we're going to go head for the cache. Grabbing that slurp juice is not super exciting. You can see it in the far right on my inventory there. And then nothing happens for a really long time. I had this key that I got, off of one of the people that I eliminated, and I eventually am able to upgrade the explosive repeater rifle based on it. Zone is starting to shrink here. There's only 10 people left in the lobby, despite me seeing almost no one throughout most of this game. But I want to try to set myself up here this late in the game, starting to really play zone. So I get out of the jungle, and I'm going to use this rift that is meant for the loot island, and instead use it to try to get as deep in zone as possible, so I can try to set myself up on high ground with that MK rifle and make the end of this game a little bit more positive for myself. That rift in particular takes you really high, and you just saw there that as I was floating around, zone changed, giving me an advantage to be able to get even deeper into zone. So I'm going to try to find some high ground here early in next zone. And as people are moving towards me, see if I can get some easy eliminations with this MK rifle. But I'm plagued with a little bit of indecisiveness here. I'm not really sure where I want to set up based on where the zone is, and based on the fact that I'm not hearing any kind of third-party fights going on right now. So after looking around this lowland area, I'm going to go back up here. Even though it's not in zone, it's in the next zone, it's close. And I start to see with visual audio some fight going on in the distance. And I don't hear it again. So I decide to go up on this high ground. And finally I hear it again. But I can't get line of sight on anybody. So maybe I pursue it. But I don't hear it again. So this ends up being a really weird game, or at least a really weird portion of this game, that I'm faced with this indecisiveness and trying to find a good spot that's going to make it easy on me in the long term. And here I can get a raptor egg here to give me a little bit extra overshield and give me a little bit extra mobility. So I decide to pop a slurp juice, stand in storm, and wait for the raptor here. Not everybody would have done this, but I really like the additional overshield, and I really like the ease of movement that you get, the mobility that you get with it, as opposed to having to rely on the shockwave grenades. So I'm a little bit out in the open here, but I do get some free shots on this guy. There's only 5 people left in this lobby now. And I'm going to be able, because I've got the raptor, I can jump up to this snow level here in a way that would be a little bit more difficult if I was just on foot. So I'm staying right on edge of zone. I know there's a guy to the left. I think the person he was fighting is off to the right, but then I see the loot, and it looks like they eliminated them. And now this is the kind of thing I was talking about. I've got high ground on everybody in zone. I've got a rifle. I've got overshield and mobility with the raptor. The truth of it is, I probably got lucky because this is a Thursday afternoon game that I was able to get into because I had a meeting cancellation over lunch. And now if you look at the upper right, there's 4 players left. So not a lot has happened, which has allowed me to get deep into this game. But now I'm going to get the last 3 eliminations as things heat up here over the last 2 minutes or so. So I take a shot from behind me and to the left. Not really sure where that came from because I didn't see who that person was. I'm able to use the raptor for mobility here a little bit and get some cover. Going to try to get some right shoulder peek to get eyes on this person because I have no idea where they are. But I'm not able to. I decide, I've only got the 1 heal left. Maybe if I go search this loot pool over here, I can find some additional heals. But while I'm doing that, the guy that I took long shots at a minute ago, he shows up. So I get him with a couple of okay shots here, and I'm able to take him out with that exploding repeater. Now I'm going to turn my attention back to the guy that took shots on me a minute ago, and somebody came over here to try to third party us. Comes out from that bush. I'm able to use my mobility here and the explosive rifle to take them out. So now there's only one person left. I'm going to come over here and see if I can get the healed, but the storm's coming and I need to react to that. So I decide I'm just going to come over here, see if I can find this person. And there he is. So I take a couple of bad shots here with my rifle. For a minute here, I think maybe if I take my slurp juice and stay in storm and try to keep this distance, but then I can't really see through the storm, so I decided to take this and make a short range fight out of it. I get a decent pump shotgun shot on them, and I switch back to the explosive, get one shot and then miss a couple of times. With the pump again, switch back to the explosive, which I have to wait for reload. And I finally take them out for my first back-to-back win. So this one was a little ugly, I'll admit that, but I'll take the victory after playing for 9 months to get 2 consecutive games, albeit across a pretty large spread of time. If we look at the match stats here, it's only the 5 eliminations. And I usually have more headshots and more damage than this, but like I said, you know, for a lunchtime match, I'll take what I can get. This third match in the sequence took place at about 4 p.m. on Thursday when I had a cancellation in my workday, and it has a similar structure to the second game, where we're going to land at the same POI, we're going to load up, then launch pad over to the jungle, looking for raptors and third-party fights before we go try to find the cache. Snapping forward here, the loadout here isn't quite as good as the last game when we hit the launch pad. I've got a lesser shotgun in the form of the Maven Auto. I've got the pistol as my spray weapon. I've got both some rudimentary shields and some fish for health. And then I've got that MK, which is the thing I'm hoping to rely on here in this next segment. But we see, as I'm floating over here, I find someone to fight almost immediately. So I land early on this tree, but I get no visibility on this guy. So I pretty quickly go over to the roof. And this is really about patience, waiting to get in a good shot on this guy, waiting for him to make a mistake, because I know at some point he has to exit the building and face me. So I crouch to try to keep myself as quiet as possible. I wish I had better weapons, but it's early game, so what are you going to do? And eventually this guy makes a run for it. I switch over to my MK, and I take him out while he's on the zip line. And I'm going to fast forward here, because then I don't see another human being for a full 5.5 minutes. I find my Raptor, I upgrade to a blue pump shotgun, I upgrade to a blue MK, and I get some better healing. While I'm heading out to try to activate the cache, to top off my healing, I finally run into another person. I probably tried that shotgun from too far away. I switch to the pistol and I get some decent damage. Switch back to the shotgun and take care of this guy. I always get a little bit nervous when activating the cache, especially after a fight like that, because who herds that and is going to try to third party this? Fortunately, this cache location is near this building I can come camp out at while I'm waiting for the cache to fully activate. I've been pretty disappointed in the augments this season so far. Nothing's really game-changing. It feels like a waste to not use them at all, but they don't really enhance a whole lot. So while I'm waiting for the cache to activate, I'm just going to try to loot the rest of this area. Not a whole lot here. This seems to take 5 forever. As you can see, I'm pretty central in zone here as well. Somebody just pinged, it looks like with a shotgun. So I'm a little bit wary of that as I start to come out of here and the cache is active. And really I just run out here and get my heal, the slurp juice, and as anticipated, I take some fire while I'm doing so. That sounded like an MK from far away. I don't see this. Oh, there he is. And then I am going to use right shoulder here in the MK, not making the shotgun mistake distance that I made a minute ago. And I take him out pretty quickly. I often forget that the shotgun is really for very close range, and sometimes I switch to it way too early when I should engage the MK instead. I took just a little bit of damage there. Take the big pot to top off my heals. Loot this as best I can. And the best utility item I have here at my disposal is this flare gun, which might be of use later. And again, another full 2 minutes goes by when I don't see someone. I'm able to upgrade my spray weapon a bit, and I'm all blue here. I go and find this other raptor and figure out where it is I'm going to try to position myself now that we're late game and the zones are no longer concentric. They're starting to shift around here, and that's when I find you really got to play zone and positioning here to maximize the chance that you survive and get a victory at the end. Now there's a number of rifts with the smaller vaults I could have used here to get in zone. But again, right now at least, I'm kind of a fan of using the raptors, both because of their movement speed and because they'll take shots for you. And I can see in the distance there's a fight going on, so I can quickly get over there. If you looked quickly in that cache fight, the first one, the raptor that I was on took a ton of damage for me and made it so that was a much easier fight. As I get closer here, I'm going to try to right shoulder peek this with the blue MK, see if I can get a cheap and easy victory. I see these two on their fight, and I nestle up to this rock area here. I should have done a better job of reloading. Take out one guy, the other guy's gonna hide there in that house. Then he comes out, he doesn't use right shoulder at all, and he's pretty easy to deal with for the 5th elimination. So I'm in a pretty good state here. I mean, I pick up some keys here that I may or may not need. I'm all blue. I could use some better rarity loot here, but I've still got some mileage going out of my raptor here. I'm going to be able to get, oh, and look, I can get a better MK here. I'm going to try to get in front of zone here now, because we can see that the shift is pretty significant. And there's going to be some important positioning to play here to get out in front of zone on high ground, especially now that I have the orange MK rifle. I'm probably going to be okay with the others as is, and especially when we take some of those high positions, that flare gun might help me out here late game as well. And again, I could do a rift, but you know, rifts don't give you sort of the effect of additional overshield the way that the animals do. I hear something going on in that tower. Let me get just a little bit higher ground here, because there's a tree, there's a stump, there's a small bush. Now sometimes I find like the aiming and the positioning once you're on an animal is a little bit awkward. I'm going to choose here to get off of the animal, and that might be a mistake, as we'll see how this plays out. Because I lose that overshield, I could still hop back on him and get out of town quickly if I need to. There's just a little bit of area here behind me that could still be in zone, but I know that there's at least one person in that big tower over there. So we're pretty late game now. We know where the next zone is going to be. Only 6 players remaining. I'm feeling good about this position, and it's really about trying to be patient and waiting for the game to sort of come to you at this point. You can see with the way this zone is going to move, I'm just going to barely be in it, and visual audio tells me about a fight that's going on. There's a guy running up to the ceiling, or to the roof there. I get in one shot on him with the aim assist, but then he kind of disappears. Whoever was after him, I don't see him coming. up the stairs as well. I don't know what that thing rolling down those stairs is. If you look at the left, I'm losing my raptor, who's not smart enough to not stand in the storm. And that's where it would have been a little smarter for me to stay mounted, because then I could have kept him, and now he's gone. So now I don't have any mobility. I'm at the top of a hill, and I'm trying to snipe as best I can with the MK. There's a little more damage going on. Oh, it's moved not to the top of the tower, but a little bit lower. My aim there is terrible, and look, there's another guy coming here. He's pretty far away, and I'm going to try to put fire on him. Maybe this is a mistake because I'm giving away my position by doing so. I take out a little bit of shield on him, and then I get lucky because the next zone is right where I'm going to be. I'm already there. So as this guy is trying to come across the water, I can take shots at him. But because I'm an old man, my aim is just terrible. And he's able to find cover behind these trees. There's only 3 people left. And I've got the best position in the map right now. But because my aiming skills are so terrible, I'm trying to see where this guy is. And what I decided to do is take away his cover. So I'm going to take away these trees. He already knows where I am, so I don't lose anything by making extra noise. But I want to get line of sight and see where this guy is. And he managed to creep around to those rocks over there, hit me with an explosive rifle, but then the other guy came and is third-partying the fight. So I pop the slurp. I'm going to let these two fight it out and try to go one-on-one with whoever the survivor is. I pop the flare gun so that I get eyes on him, and I manage to get pressure on him before he can pop his slurp. Which my aim is so terrible here, but my timing is good. I finally switch to my spray weapon and take him out. So because I got a little bit lucky there with that guy got third-partied when I was taking away his cover. And then I just took on the survivor and got pressure before they could heal. And that kind of made up for my lack of aim. The number of eliminations here isn't great. It's still just 6. A little bit better headshots than the second game. But this is the 3rd one in a row for me. And it was a real important milestone. That's it for this episode. If you enjoyed what you just saw, please support the channel with a like and subscribe. And thanks so much for watching.